Okay guys, we have an investigation we're going to do. I have different thicknesses of rope here and different lengths of rope. First one I want to look at is what if we have a thin piece of rope and a thick piece of rope, and we're going to tie knots in each piece of rope. So let's first look at the length. The length of this rope is 12 inches. And when I tie a knot in it, obviously the rope is going to get shorter, right? And so this is 12, and this one is 10. Okay, so if I tie a knot in the thick piece of rope, do one overhand knot, and then I measure it again. So the 12 inches became 10 inches. Now these two are the same length, right? But I need to also put a knot in this piece of rope. So this one went from 10 inches to 9.5. Okay, so what's going to happen as I put more knots in the rope? Is there going to be a point where if I have the same number of knots in the thick piece of rope and the thin piece of rope, that the lengths would be the same? That's my question. All right, so let's tie another knot just to do another. Okay, so this is now, so 2 knots, and this is 8 inches. And 2 knots, and this is 7.5. That's getting pretty close, right? Another knot. It's 6.5. And 6. So now with 3 knots, this one is slightly longer now, isn't it? It was, we started out, this one was 12 and this one was 10. So now this one is actually longer than this one with 3 knots. So is it there, I guess there's a theoretical point where those two would be the same length if we could do half a knot or something like that. Now what would happen, do you think, if they were the same length and I tied knots in both? Is there a point where the lengths are the same? What would happen if I had a thick piece of rope and a thin piece of rope, and the thick piece of rope was shorter, started shorter than the thin piece of rope? At what point would they be the same length? What if they were the same thickness and the same length? At what point are they going to be the same length? And what if I had the same thickness of rope and one was shorter than the other? If I tied knots in both ropes, at what point would they be the same length? So those are some things to think about as we go into this topic.